Good morning, NHN community. Today I am going to have Dr. Kim Tran of Revive Chiropractic join me to talk about reading food labels for optimal health. She's so good at making everything so simple when it comes to nutrition and overall health. So I'm just going to invite her on here. You are watching live and have questions, go ahead and comment with them and let us know. Good morning. How are you?
Hey, good morning.
So thank you so much for joining me this morning.
Yes, thanks for having me. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay,
Perfect.
perfect.
Um,
Yay.
so we've been getting a lot of questions in our messenger about food labels, and there seems to be a lot of confusion over the changing of different ingredient labels and what to do if you're a newbie and all the things.
Yeah.
So I contacted Dr. Tran because she's so good at breaking down things and making them simple when it comes to nutrition and optimal health. So um,
Yes.
what would you tell someone that's brand new to reading food labels, all the using things that you feel like you need a college course on?
Oh my gosh, I know. There's so many things, but my motto is to always keep it simple. Keep it simple. When it comes to reading food labels, if you can't pronounce it, then don't get it. Try not to be so, um, I guess, stressed or look into the nitty gritty of all these little chemical ingredients. If we kind of just stick to whole foods, simple ingredients we can read on the food label, that is the best start. So usually when you look on the back of the package and look at that ingredient label, that very first ingredient is the bulk of what's in the food. And so whenever you're reading ingredient labels, it's always by weight. So whatever's in there the most is the very first thing, and the next two to three things after kind of goes down in weight in descending order. And so whenever you're looking, you want to look at the first 3 to 5 ingredients, because that's going to make up the bulk of that food. And if you can stick to the least ingredients, the better. Anything you can pronounce, the better. That's the number one place to start. The major things you can look out for if you're worried about food additives and preservatives and things like that, and food dyes. I think some of the biggest changes are food dyes. Everyone's always looking for red 40 when it comes to ingredient labels, right? Because a lot of our children have food dye allergies or just food dye sensitivities. And so red 40 is also now called Allura red. So instead of just looking at red 40, if you see an Allura red, just because it's a pretty name, it's still red dye 40. Yellow, the yellow food dye is called, I think, tartrazine now, and so that can be looked for on an ingredient label. I think a lot of the other additives that you can look for is your different names for sugars, right? Everyone's saying how just sugar is so bad, but you want to actually go for just the organic cane sugar and not all the other chemical names for it. Your sucralose, aspartame, things like that are what you want to avoid. And no one looks at it as aspartame or sucralose or saccharin, but this is your equal, your sweet and low, and even your Splenda. Right, everyone goes for those packets thinking they're more sugar free, but it's just chemical sugars, and your body is probably better off just eating the organic cane sugar. Um,
I
those
have
are a
family
couple of
members
major things.
I have family members that used to bring my kids sugar free because they know they're like, oh, it's more natural. Here you go. And I'm like, if it's candy and it says sugar free, it's probably not
Yeah,
good for you.
never go for the sugar-free things. I always just go, if you're gonna do it, just eat the sugar.
Yeah.
Don't go for the sugar-free things. Our body has a harder time processing and breaking down all the fake sugar, for sure. Um, I think another big thing is when you keep it simple is the big debate over like organic and non-organic things,
Mhm.
because organic things can be very pricey, right? And so it's the same thing. Whenever you're looking at produce for foods, you always want to have a list of the dirty dozen and the clean 15 with you whenever you're buying organic versus non-organic. That's a big list, to help you save money. So all it really means is organic foods has lower pesticides, just a different grade of how we rate food quality. But if you just have a list of your dirty dozen, which is the top 12 fruits and vegetables that have the highest amount of pesticides in it, and your clean 15, which is the top 15 foods that have the lowest amount of pesticide residue on there, those are great starters when you go grocery shopping. So the dirty dozen is what you would buy organic, and the clean 15 is what you would buy conventional, and that's okay. Another thing would be to buy local. A lot of your local farmers and at your farmers markets can't really afford the organic USDA certified
Right.
seal, but they technically are organic farming and not conventional farming. And so you would just ask your farmer, are you organic or are you conventional? And they'll tell you, they'll totally tell you. And so that's a great way to save too, because and you're supporting your local farmer.
Yeah.
They just who may not just be able to afford the USDA like organic logo. Um, and then whenever you're thinking about organic versus non-organic too, or just like foods to buy and where to save in general, when you want to prioritize organic would also be like your meats and your proteins. So getting your organic grass-fed meats, your pasture-raised chickens, your wild-caught fish, pasture-raised eggs. That's where it's super important, because those quality of meats and proteins um, have less chances of having antibiotics and growth hormones in them. Whenever you get conventional of that, those animals don't really have the best quality of life. They have tons of antibiotics fed into them because living quarters are not great, and then tons of growth hormone in them too, just to help have more meat and more protein on them. Um, but those are probably the major things that you can do whenever you are grocery shopping and thinking and stressing about labels and reading labels, is just to keep it simple. If you can't read it, don't buy it. Look at the top 5 ingredients first. If you can read it, great. If they're whole foods, even better. Watch for mislabeling of things, or not mislabeling, but how the additives and preservatives have different names on them. Um, I think another, like carrageenan, is another additive that people are looking at. Carrageenan can also be called Irish moss on
Right.
there. Um, yeah, it can be called Irish moss. And um, what else? Yeah, whenever you're looking at, just keep it simple. If you can't pronounce it, don't get it. The least ingredients, the better. Try for whole foods. If you are truly new to the game and this is stressing you out, download an app like Yuka, YUCA. The Yuka app is great if you are like a newbie to the food scene, and it's totally worth the investment, because like you can use it without having to buy the app or pay anything. But Yuka is truly trying to just help you, the consumer, be more food savvy and be more knowledgeable. You can pay what you can afford for the app. Truly, like if you want a membership with them to unlock more brands, more things, you can literally just pay what you want for the year to have access. So if you can only give $5, you can pay $5. If you can do 10 and support them, you can do $10 for the year. They're really super helpful, and you can just scan the barcode of any food label, and it'll pull up and then give you alternatives for it. So let's say you pull up fruit roll-ups and you want alternatives to fruit roll-ups. It'll tell you all the alternative to fruit roll-ups. It grades food on a scale of like 100. If you score 100, you get an A.
Right.
You're a good food. They have their B foods, C foods, D foods, and F foods. And so you look at the score, and if it's scoring like 85 and up, I think it's okay on that app. And it'll show you the ingredients, why it's not a great choice, and give you all these different alternatives for it. So if you are a newbie in the food game and you're unsure about food labels, that's where an app like Yuko would be super helpful. They even have personal care products too, I believe, that you can look at for sure. You can look at the EWG app too. That one's helpful. The Think Dirty app, that one's helpful. And a lot of times whenever you subscribe and then you put your email in, you can keep up to date on all these new changes too. So like the EWG, if you subscribe to the EWG, they always send emails to keep you up to date on changes, like how they changed the food dyes from red 40 to allure red. So all these little changes to where you don't have to go and research for. If you just subscribe to a lot of these like emails, the EWG will keep you updated, versus having to go on, say, PubMed to do the research yourself.
I think that would be a great blog to write. I'll have to do some research on that, what has changed, and then I'll throw a blog out on the Natural Health Network blog
Yeah.
to help you guys out so you don't have to search through your email. I'll do it for you. But yeah, I still use the Yucca app, especially with personal care products.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's getting older, so we're having to buy a little bit more personal care things for her, and just we don't want the endocrine disruptors and
Yeah.
things. So,
Yeah.
but generally, I like to just find things that don't have synthetic fragrances and things like that in it. That's a big game changer for us, I know.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
Well, thank you so much for sharing tips and tricks. Do you want to tell us more about what your office offers there in Cypress?
Sure. So, my office is Revive Chiropractic and Wellness. We're in Cypress. We're in the Bridgeland area. I'm a pregnancy and pediatric chiropractor, so we offer prenatal and pediatric care. We specialize in oral ties, so your lip ties, tongue ties. We also offer functional nutrition and functional medicine services, so all the functional testing for gut health, food allergies, food sensitivities, genetics, hormones. We do all that testing here. We also offer ozone, acupuncture, and red light therapy, and general chiropractic care as well.
And I love coming to your office and asking you about which probiotics do we need to be on now, and which multivitamin and adjustments and all the things. So
Yes, I love it.
thank you for supporting Natural Health Network and being a member. And if you would like to get a hold of Dr. Tran and Revive Chiropractic, obviously follow her page, and then also hop over to NHN, naturalhealthnetwork.org, and we did a fun interview over there. So her profile on there on our directory has all of her contact information. And if you want to learn more in depth about what she offers, we did a whole interview video. So thanks again for joining me, and I'll see you soon. I think we're going to run over to your office today.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
I'll see you. Thank you so much for having me.
Yep. Have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.